Happy Friday. Welcome back, Kelly, to another
Yes.
hot seat episode of the Revitalized
Mm.
Womanhood podcast. It's
Hi.
like, how many names can we have for this podcast? The Revitalized Womanhood, To the
Mhm.
Core, hot seat
Mhm.
episode.
It's yeah, perfect.
It's
I,
hyphenated.
I love it. It's good. These are my favorite days, the Fridays.
These are my
When
favorite
we get to
days when
see
we
Gina,
get to see each other.
we
No,
get to
you
see
and
each
me.
other. Yeah, I get to see you, and we get to hear more about you that we don't typically get to hear. Because you were saying the other day, you were like, I want to talk about more fun things. These are fun questions.
Oh, good. Because, yeah, I
Mhm.
did. I read on this last. So it's funny because I recorded it last week, but it's not coming out till next week. But
Yes.
Robin actually sent me some really good stories because I wanted to do more of the Friday episodes, more like moms writing in and telling us those stories. Like I
Yeah.
told them about Amy's niece, the story she told us about her
Yeah.
poor niece, and I went through all that. And I was like laughing the whole time. This poor woman is suffering through this. And I'm like, you're living it now, but it'll be funny later. Like you'll look back on
Exactly.
this and be like, remember that one time?
Hmm.
Like I have that one. I think I've told this one, but it's so clear as day in my brain. And Hayes was just born, so that would make Castle 3. And I'm sitting there on the floor in his bedroom holding brand new baby, sitting on the floor. And Castle could speak really well. He started
Yeah.
talking by the time he was like 1.5. So he could speak really well. So by 3, he could just have a little conversation. But he says, Mom, what did you used to be? And I says, ugh, I don't know, a cute girl.
Yeah.
And he wiped his nose down the whole entire length of my leg and looked up at me and said, now you're a tissue.
No.
I'm like, now you're a tissue? Accurate.
And he's very
How
right. He wasn't
accurate.
wrong.
He
I
wasn't wrong. I had a different shirt on today to wear to come out and I looked down. Luckily, I looked down and
Mm-hmm.
it was covered in peanut butter because of course to get
Oh, yeah.
locked to hold him to keep him busy after we made my smoothie, I
Of
just
course
handed
they do
him the
peanut
whole
butter.
thing
Yeah.
of peanut butter and a spoon and said, "Go watch TV." Like I
Oh,
do this to myself. I hear it.
yeah.
I do this to myself.
Yeah,
And
but it's
so
still
then I
not.
picked him up and at some point and I noticed on him peanut butter everywhere, but then didn't notice. Luckily, I noticed before I left the
Yeah.
house. But who cares if I didn't?
Honestly, yeah,
Who
kids are
cares?
kids are here to
Peanut butter.
humble us, aren't they? It's like you have one, and then the next one is still gonna humble you in a completely different way. And then the baby comes along and it's a whole other
All bets
humbling
are off.
discussion.
Once that last one comes, it's like all bets are off.
Who
Whatever.
cares?
Here's a jar of peanut butter and a spoon. Go watch a show.
How much peanut butter has he been eating a day now?
So much. I mean, but how much actually gets in his mouth? I don't
Right.
know. Anybody that comes to my house, if you want a peanut butter sandwich, I'm just going to let you know that that spoon's been dipped and licked and dipped and licked and dipped.
Do you keep the same spoon in your jar?
No, but him, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He just goes, oh, oh. He's so cute.
Oh, he's
It's
so
good
cute.
therapy too for their mouths. It's peanut butter. They use it for therapy too.
Oh, that's true. Maybe that's why he's starting to talk better finally.
He is, I can tell he is well.
Rick's been a little nervous.
I know. He's the baby.
Yeah, it's been, well, having Hayes as a brother, you'd think he'd be fluent.
That's why he's not, because Hayes talks
Hayes
for
does all
him.
the talking.
Hmm.
That's true.
That's
Good
what they
point.
always say. Yes.
That's true.
Don't you
Jeez.
worry. He's just fine. He's
He's
just fine.
just, that's what I keep saying. He's
He knows
fine.
exactly what he wants.
I'm like, you really want another one talking?
Yeah.
Let's just make him not talk forever.
Yeah.
It would be lovely.
No. You don't want
We
that
started
either.
doing this to Rick today. And Rick's
Oh,
like, what does this mean? What is he doing here? And I'm like,
Rick didn't
well, it
know.
doesn't really work if you don't know what it means. The more, you guys, if you're not watching on YouTube, I did the more
Rick.
sign language. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, it doesn't
Rick
really
needs to
work.
take a sign
If you
language
teach your
class.
kids sign language, but you don't know what it means, you're out of
No.
luck.
Just more please and thank you. That's all you
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
What are we doing
I'm
today?
excited. I'm excited for the questions.
What do you
Ask me
got?
anything with Gina. It
What?
needs a song.
It's a song.
As soon
La
as
la 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 la.
the girls, as soon as they started posting these, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I know the answer to that. I think I know the answer, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know the answer to that one. So
I keep
so good.
saying the first person that comes up with a question that they probably haven't already heard me say. I swear, I feel like you guys know everything about me.
You are an open book for sure, but I think these are things that you really haven't talked about.
All
They're
right,
great questions. So,
good. I love
yeah.
it.
Okay. The first one, don't think about your today. This doesn't talk about today. All right.
Okay, today
So,
is a weird day.
this is not your typical day. How do you start the first hour of your mornings and the last hour before bed? And are there specific routines? So, morning and evening.
Yes, absolutely there are.
Start with morning.
But my
Morning
evenings are going to
routine.
make me sound horrible. Full disclosure,
Yeah, because there's another
I
question
might
that
sound like an alcoholic. No, really. my,
well,
my
the first thing
husband
I do
thinks
is
I
grab my
have a
phone.
problem. No.
Marco Polo, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Email. No.
You guys have heard me talk about my mornings because I think it is very important. And the more I get into this coaching myself, right? I always say I'm not in this as to tell you all what to do. I'm in this to hopefully be doing it and with you, right? Like I'm learning too, and
You're
obviously
very
we're
good
all
at
different
telling us
people.
that.
But I have learned, luckily, that I was already a morning person, so getting up in the morning is easy for me. For some reason, I don't know why, but I do. So getting up at 6 a.m., whereas everybody else in my house gets up at 7, is crucial for me. It's when I get up and have my coffee. It's when I do anything I want. I mean, really, if I want to, now it looks like posting for my business and whatever. So I have to get that out of the way. I get to get that out of the way so that doesn't take up time when I'm with my kids. And then having my coffee and just like, if I just listen to my body, and if I need to not even be on my phone, if I need to just watch some Netflix, or I just need to just be mellow and enjoy my coffee, be present with myself, right? And honestly, it's funny because I've been talking to a lot of people that say sit in the silence, and I'm like, how often do I actually do that? I don't. I really don't. I
You
think
don't.
I would claw my skin off if I had to sit in the silence.
You do your first hour, though.
Yeah.
That's
And
your
so
time.
that's,
Yeah.
even though it's not in the silence, it is me mentally preparing to be calm and
Yep.
compose myself before the rush of the kids and everything opens up. But throughout the day, I do try to have those moments to come back to that place. Like I just did it. I just posted on my stories and said, today is a busy day, right? I'm getting ready for this event tonight, and today is a busy day, and I'm a little frantic, but I just have to keep reminding myself it's going to be great. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, nobody shows up and I'm left with a really yummy table of charcuterie. Some good desserts. Yeah.
Sounds like a
I mean,
pretty
that's,
bad.
but really that's not that big of a deal, right? If no one shows up, I still have gathered together an amazing group of women that we would
Oh my
all just be hanging out together, and it would be more intimate, and it would be,
You bet.
and I know that's not going to happen. I know tons of people are going to come, but it's like I just remind myself, what is the worst that can happen? And then do I really care about the worst? No. I
I
mean,
love that.
it's not really the worst. So that's kind of how I manage these things. As far as our retreats go, like it doesn't stress me out at all. And that's a full 4 days, right? That's a full weekend. And
Yep.
I just know that the women that are coming are so amazing and would, if they needed to, kick in and help, or if something didn't turn out right, or if so, like I have no stress about that. Anyway, so sorry. That was kind of
No, that's good. You're not
deterred.
worrying about the little things that they're out of your control.
Out of my control.
You
Yes.
can control the big things that you set, and after that, the rest flies
Mm-hmm.
because you are confident with yourself. A lot of people, most people, I think, would be stressing about what am I going to say? Who am I going to talk to? Am I going to appear okay? People are like thinking of that, but you're thinking of who am I going to meet that I can change their life? Because you know your purpose for the
Right.
event today. You know your purpose. You know your purpose for your day. So in that morning, that 1 hour, you're giving that to yourself so that you can give to everybody else.
And I
And
think
it's
that's how I wrap it up too. So I think that's how I wrap it up. I sound like I have I have some serious vices, you guys. I'm sorry. I do. I end my night with, and I don't know that it's an end. I mean, if we want to talk about the last hour, no, but really when Rick and I turn off our phones at 6 and Kelly, everybody knows this. It's like, if you guys, my mark goes off, I don't, and we sit down and watch a show together. Or, I have a glass of wine and we get to have like a little date night together. The kids are doing whatever they do now. It's so gorgeous outside. They get to play outside with their little bunnies. And the baby's old enough now that they take him out. And so they all jump and play. And it's awesome. And Rick and I just like find a show.
Yeah.
And it's so good for us. So that's what we do. And then, so my very last hour before I go to bed is back exactly how I started it. I've got the baby cuddled up next to me, put him to sleep, and then I just kind of watch Netflix.
That sounds relaxing, though. That is self-care. And if
I was going to say that's really what it is, because during the day I am go, 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 go. I don't sit still. Like I said, I don't sit still. I go to the gym. I come to work.
When you're driving your car to the next place.
Right.
That's what I tell Matt. I'm like, I didn't sit all day. Well, I did, but I did in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, but I'm opposite of you. I'm like, the alarm goes off and I'm like, oh, can I snooze one more time?
Right.
So it's just, but you have to know.
A lot of people are that way.
Yeah. I wish I was a morning person. I know I can become one and it's going to take a ton of work for that, but I envy everybody that has that, because I do believe, every successful person will say, that's where it starts, that first hour.
And if I do have something, like if I am interviewing someone that has a book or something, right? And I already have the book that we're reading for our monthly topic in our community. And then if I'm interviewing someone else, I want to make sure I've read their book, and or their podcast, anything like that. So in that hour before I wake up or before I go to bed, that is also that time when I kind of do those kinds of things that I can sit still for.
Yeah. And that time is coming. So like during your busy day, you can regroup and say, it's okay. I have that time coming.
Yeah.
Spend time with the kids, get everything cleaned up or whatnot.
But it's so good. Like we were on that training yesterday. A lot of us were, like 2 million people were on that training that was a live event for Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. And it was awesome. Yeah. And one of the coaches, Tony Robbins' best friend, was talking about how we all have the same, this comes up all the time, but we all have the same amount of time in the day, right? Yep. And you come across people that are like, oh my gosh, this was actually in my episode today that just came out with Dania. Okay. She was talking about it and she says, we all have the same amount of time in the day. It doesn't mean that so-and-so is more successful because XYZ. It's because they took advantage of that time, right? You can't sit here and say, oh, well, I don't have time for that. Yep. Or, oh, I don't have enough money for that. Or, oh, I don't. These are just excuses because guess what? You would figure out, if you wanted something bad enough, you would figure out the time for it. If you wanted something bad enough, you would figure out how to get the money. Right?
I 100% agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's incredible to watch a person who does have that mindset, because there's a big difference between that person who does and that person that doesn't. And maybe that person doesn't even recognize that in themselves yet, but getting people to recognize that, where are you lacking? You're lacking for 8 hours of the day and you could have been doing XYZ.
I like that you said that they might not even notice it, because that's the kind of the whole part of when I'm asking people to join this community is, what else, what are you searching for? Is there more? Are you looking for more? Because you are made for more. Like you are created to do more, whether you think it or not. You're not created to feel like you're drowning every day. You're not created to feel like you do not have another second in your life, right?
It's like, not okay to feel that way.
No, it's not okay to feel that way. And we shouldn't wear it like a badge of honor either, saying I'm so busy and I'm so stressed, or we wear that in America as a badge of honor. And it's, you go to these different countries and you realize how much better they have it, because they know that it's not a badge of honor. It looks terrible.
Looks silly.
And it looks silly, and you're chasing your tail, and it's like, what's really important is taking a little siesta in the middle of the day, or closing down the entire country basically from
my
what,
gosh.
noon, Italy. It was so hard to get lunch. We would always want lunch and we'd go out and they were all shut down. And then they don't open up again till like 7 o'clock at night. And it's like, we'd have
Really?
to learn. Yeah. We'd have to learn to get food, baguettes or food, cheese, meat, whatever to have for the kids, because we would get done with breakfast, having our breakfast, and then go explore. And then by the time we wanted to go have lunch, they're shut down. They go home. They go home for lunch. They leave school. They leave work. They shut down. They go home and they be together as a family. And then they go back out at night to do like dinner and open their shops back up and everything. It's, you know what I mean? So it's a very different culture, but I think they've figured it out.
That's cool.
Yeah. What's the next question?
What, you're ready for the next one? Okay. This kind of was a little bit what you're talking about, but the days that you're not feeling it, do you push through or do you listen to your body and relax when you're not feeling it?
It depends. It depends, because if I'm not feeling it, but I have deadlines, I have to push through, right? I have to think, this is what needs to happen, right? But on days when like you had a bad day yesterday and you were like, nope, it's not even going to happen, you know?
Nope. Yep.
There's days like that when I feel that way with the gym or something. If I push my body too hard, or I need a recovery day, or I didn't sleep good. You know, I just went through this with Locke and I wasn't sleeping for like 2 weeks. He was just having the hardest time. And so I was getting like 3 hours of sleep at night, and I started feeling that, you know. So I do listen to my body. But again, I'm not very good at sitting still. I'm not very good at being silent. I'm not very good at that. So I remember we were in yoga once, and Lisa Brown, that's been on the podcast, she's my instructor. And I remember she had started class, but I was kind of oblivious. I was on my phone doing something and waiting for class to start, you know, and all of a sudden I heard her say, let's be present. And I'm like, oh, you know, and like, oh, she's talking to me. You know, like,
Oh, I need that.
she totally called me out. And so
She did. She called us ADD girls out.
yeah, she called me out, but it's things like that I need reminding, because and I love when you're in a class like that they continue to remind you to come back and be present, because they tell you to shut off your brain, but does it ever? Who shuts off their brain? Tell me, let me meet these people. I know they're out there and they can do it, but I just have not.
You have to be super intentional.
Yeah, that's very intentional, and I haven't figured that out yet.
Do you feel like, though, you can keep pushing through because you have this really big end goal? And you know, we've talked about this, you know, in your very big end goal, it's going to take a lot of bad days. And a bad day doesn't mean you're failing. It just means that it's working. And I always say that to you. I'm like, it's working. You had a bad day. Keep going through that. So do you push through that? Yeah. And I think you do push through.
You've
most
seen
bad
me
days.
push through that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have seen you had a very freeing day. I don't think until was it Sunday when you guys were out riding?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. It was Saturday night.
Saturday night. I felt like you just let yourself be a little bit and outside with the family. And that's what you needed to regroup for another busy week. And you knew this week was coming. And these are your goals. These are your end goals. So you do keep pushing. It's pretty incredible. But if you don't have a goal, you probably won't keep pushing through some things because it's going to be hard, right?
Well, and I think I revitalized myself, honestly. I revitalized, let's really use that word. I revitalized my whole, not view of what I've been doing, right? Because what I've been doing since I started this last year is what I thought I was supposed to be doing, right? So I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing the Instagram, I'm doing the newsletter, I'm doing whatever, all online, because our community is that way, because we're all across the country and in Canada even, you know? So you get so focused in on this is what it needs to look like to reach these people nationally, right? Or globally. And the whole time I finally had this aha moment that was like, it needs to be more fun. Remember when I reached out to you and I said, this needs to be more fun. I need to have more fun. I need these people that are listening to this to know that I am super silly. Have they not figured that out yet? Like, I am so silly. I tell stories. I dance around. Don't take myself very seriously. And I want that to come through.
Yeah.
and get out into the community and share this message that I think is just phenomenal, and it's so needed and so important for women. And I'm like, why? I've totally just ignored this entire community that I have at my disposal right here with me. And that's when I was like, I'm having an event.
Yep.
It's happening. What do I do best? What do I love? What all of these things are tools, but what is my bread and butter? And that's face to face. Like I do it all to be able to see people, to meet people.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's what's going to happen. So
I love it.
Shook it up a bit.
Yeah. I think that is exactly what you're feeling in your heart is what needs to happen. And I'm proud of you. I think it's awesome. Just wish I could be there.
I know you and Mandy's told me she's got FOMO like 10 times today.
We've talked a couple times. We're like, maybe we could still go. Okay.
We just need to have these events in your town. That's what I'm talking about next is who wants to host an event in their town. Let's go have one up in Minnesota. Let's have one in Florida. I'm there for it.
Everybody loves you. So it's like, come on, I want everybody to meet you here too. So.
No, you're so sweet.
Okay. If you could choose one, only lipstick or only mascara. And
Mascara.
which product would you choose? I knew you were
so
going to say
easy. I never wear lipstick. I wear Burt's Bees chapstick all day long.
Yeah.
Even me trying to put lips on. That's probably why everybody's like, this girl doesn't wear any makeup because my
You
lips
said it
never.
the other day. You said, I'm going to the gym and I at least always put mascara on.
Yeah,
You said,
always. I don't
wasn't
leave the
like you were
house. That's
putting
my
on, like-
bar. That's
Yeah.
I don't go below because
No.
I don't know why. There's just that thing that, and everybody says, I think I've said this. Everybody says, oh, I don't care what anyone thinks. And it's like, no, bull crap. Everybody cares what somebody thinks to an extent. Yeah, you might not care at a certain point, but I will not walk out. I say that all the time. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks, right? But I don't leave the house without mascara on, right? Exactly. So I obviously have some kind of care. So, but mine's mascara and it's L'Oreal Voluminous. That has been my ride or die since high school. And I'm very meticulous about my eyelashes.
I've watched you put your mascara on.
Very meticulous. It takes my whole entire face, probably takes 5 minutes, and my mascara probably takes 5 minutes itself.
I wish I really seriously remember we did our little makeup the first time we were at the Hunt Club together, and you put it on, and I remember sitting across the table like, is she almost done? And then what? But it's very genius. The way you do it is very wonderful. It's very wonderful.
And I've actually discovered as well for traveling, being the travel mama, that microblading my eyebrows was like, I will never stop. I will never go back. That is so for some people, their eyelashes, getting their eyelashes done. But I couldn't do that. I can't do that while I'm traveling, right? So being out, like I don't usually wear mascara. I don't usually wear makeup when we're traveling. I don't, because either we're swimming or we're getting in the ocean or whatever, right? So it just not
sweating. You're at
you're sweating. But if I've got my eyebrows microbladed, it at least looks like something. So that was my hack before COVID.
Yeah.
When I finally did that, I was like, I will never. That's my travel hack.
It's so good. Oh, you're so pretty.
Oh, you're so pretty.
Okay, that was a quick one. Okay, this next one. Okay, choose one. Bad face day or bad hair day?
Every day is a bad hair day for me. And a bad face day. I mean, where's your bar?
No.
I do. Even when I have a messy top knot, though, I kind of fuss with it enough that it has a look to it. So,
but I think you're the type to put more makeup on and then just throw your hair up. Like that's going to be the last to go. If you have to go see somebody and be presentable, you're going to do your makeup and then put your hair up.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Do you like how I'm going to, Kelly?
Yes. Kelly, will you, what's the dictionary, the English to French dictionary? You're the Kelly to Gina to the rest of the world dictionary translator.
Oh my gosh.
Let me translate
Gina how she feels about herself. Oh my gosh.
But it is true. No, you're right. If I wasn't understanding that question. You're right. I would put my mascara on and like do my, I mean, I shouldn't say mascara is my only because
No.
I do under eye stuff too. I
Yeah.
can't like,
Yeah.
oh, these girls, one day maybe they won't be so dark, but
I think you look
for now
wonderful.
I'm in that season of life where
You
I
are.
have dark circles every day. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I only see them on Marco when you point them out. You're like, look it.
Look how ugly I am today.
We're moving. Oh, you're funny. Yep. Okay. Ooh, this one I do not know about you. Um, your favorite coffee order.
Um,
I know.
well, it's actually a tall white. And if anyone knows what that is,
Is that
you
Starbucks?
live in Australia.
Oh, okay. Tell
It's
us what
basically
it
a
is.
latte. It's
Okay.
basically just a latte. I'm not a huge flavor person when I'm ordering a drink
Yeah.
somewhere. Like I'd rather just have a latte and then I like to sprinkle raw sugar on top of it because then you kind of get a
Yum.
crunch every now and
Yeah.
again. I love
Yum.
the foam. But when you guys know this, I don't buy my coffee.
Nope.
It pains me to do so. So, I mean, when I'm out and about and it's like I need to, but one
Hmm.
of the most irritating things for me now is hotels don't have coffee makers in their rooms so that you have to go down. And maybe this is more of a Vegas thing. So you have to go down to the casino. The whole thing with Vegas is trying to get you down to the casino,
Sun
right?
Casino.
So
Yeah.
you don't have any of those kind of luxuries up in your room, really. So that's irritating to me.
Yeah, that is.
Like, if I want to come buy a coffee, fine. Don't
Yeah.
force me to do it.
Right.
That's rude. So I'll
Here, I'm
just
going
go
to
to
ask you.
McDonald's instead.
You would do McDonald's. Would you prefer Starbucks or Caribou?
What's Caribou?
Oh,
We have, ours are called, so we have Starbucks and then what's the one with the windmill? Obviously, I've never been there.
a windmill. I don't know that one.
That's probably like, it's a chain like you have
So,
Caribou.
yeah, we have Minnesota Caribou. Oh my gosh. I gotta get you to Caribou when you come.
Dutch Brothers.
Dutch
That's what it's called,
Brothers.
Dutch
Okay.
Brothers. So, and we don't have Dunkin' Donuts either. We don't have those here. I
Okay.
know Dunkin' Donuts is a big thing.
Everybody loves their coffee. I've never
Yeah,
been there. Well, I've been
I've
there
never.
before, but
I get McDonald's a lot.
we were in Fargo the other day, and Matt's like, "Let's just go get you a coffee." I'm like, "No, I'm fine." And we just typically don't like to spend money on that either, because it does add up. And we went through, and I got a medium. Like my favorite is Caribou Crafted Press. It has like just milk and sugar and stuff in it, and I get an extra shot of espresso. And she's like, and another shot. I'm like, "Yes, please," because it was like a
Yes,
special
please.
day. Matt's like, "Okay, $6.25," and I'm like, "Ugh, no." That adds up. $6. I was thinking generally they're like $3 to $4, but no, I don't think you can get out of there without over $5.
Holy
So that
cow.
adds up.
Yeah, it does. Well,
And
it
the
adds up. If
line,
for
so
once
long.
every now and again, I get it, fine. But you go
Yeah.
every day, you're one of these people that's your thing every
That's
day. Okay, how
yeah.
much money is that? Add it up. Seriously, sit down and add it up. And
Yep.
what could you be doing with that money?
Even
Like,
if it's just 3 days a week,
it's
you
true.
know, that's
It's
15 a
true.
week. It does add
I
up.
found $40 getting refunds on Amazon the other day and I was stoked. I'm like, yes. Actually, it was like 70, actually. But I was stoked about it. I was like, ooh, that's like gas money. That's a tank of
That is-
gas for us to go on a trip somewhere.
Exactly. I love the way you think, and I love that you're sharing that with people because that's
It hasn't just happened overnight. It's
no,
taken
a lot.
when we lost everything in 2011.
Yeah.
So it's taken that long
Yeah.
to
It's the little
really,
purchases that add up. It's the little things. I'm guilty of it too. But it's good because I got a good coach. I got you coaching me. Okay, this is a loaded question. I think
oh,
there could be two parts to it, but it's a tough one. Okay. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? 10. That means Locke is 12. Castle's in his 20s.
oh my gosh, that's weird. Yeah, Castle's 21.
Yeah. And
That's weird.
so 10 years, you have Hayes will still be home.
I've looked at, I mean, we're planned out for the next 4 years. So we're going
Wow.
to continue to travel. This has been weird for us to put travel on hold this long for me to do this, keep doing this full time, right? And that's been really hard for Rick. It's starting to wear on him. And so we're trying really hard to leave in August. You know, everybody's heard me say it's like, oh, we're leaving in November. That was
Yeah.
last year. We were leaving in November, and then Rick's
Yeah.
like, oh, if I think we should stay, and you can keep
Yeah.
doing this. And then we left in January for the month, but we were supposed to be gone, but
Yeah.
instead we came back and kept doing
Mhm.
this. And it's been interesting
Yeah.
because I love it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just what it
Yeah.
is. But we had a plan to make sure we were done doing this kind of traveling, like long-term traveling when Castle was like 13, 14, because that
Yeah.
seems to be the age when they start to be like their friends are actually the friends that will be their friends for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
Could be, right? So
Right.
we'd like him settled and the kids settled. But then at the same time, I don't know, maybe we'll be homeschooling by then. It's so
Right.
weird. Life is so weird. But I think
Mhm.
that way. I don't think in terms of they have to be in school. I think maybe by then we'll be living in the cabin and like
Yep.
doing what we're doing out there. And so it's not feasible
Mhm.
to go to school in town. And it's
Mhm.
not, that's not weird. That's not the end of the world for me either. It's just
Yeah.
what my life is very,
I
what's
think
going to
that's why
happen
that
next?
person asked the question because I don't know who did, but they know you and they know that you're not the typical like, oh, my kids will graduate. I'll hang around until they're done graduating. No, you have other plans and it might go this direction, might not. You guys are open to other things, but
We
it's
have a lot in the works right now. There is a lot of behind the scenes going on right now, secretly. Not really
Ooh,
secretly,
no.
because Rick just did a post about part of his, but
Mhm.
we're testing out waters. And this is a perfect example of
Mhm.
Mandy said it today about her mom and dad that they're 65 and 70, and her mom kind of made the statement like, I'm already this old, like I can't do anything, I can't start something new. And I
Yeah.
thought, bullshit, start
Mhm.
it. Why
Mhm.
not now? Why not? It's who cares? If you want to go be an interior designer, go
Yeah, go
start
for it.
it. Who
Mhm.
cares? Like, go
Mhm.
do it. And so that's kind of what we've always kind of lived by. And so that's Rick's been retired and he's kind of testing the water for some things, and this is all new for me. This is me
Mhm.
testing the water, all these things. But I mean, ideally it will look like us still traveling, us
I hope.
having retreats still. This is grown to the point that I can go do like public speaking and try to grow the
Mhm.
message and the community and just keep it growing. Honestly, in 10 years, it goes by in a blink.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden it will be 10 years have gone by. Look at Ryan, Order of Man's 8 years old.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
a blink probably.
That's true. Right. Yeah.
Did I answer that well enough?
You did
I
really
don't
well.
know what I'll be doing in 10 years. I don't
I
even know what
love
I'll
your
be doing next
answer
year.
because yours is untypical from the most people because we're like, well, we got our house, we know where we're staying, but I think it's fun to dream about not doing something that everybody else thinks you should be doing. And you guys are so good about, it's not that you don't care what people think of you, it's that you can do what you need for your family and what you want. And most people don't do that. And you guys aren't scared to travel. You're not scared to try something different. So it's fun to watch. I wish I could have watched you I haven't known you when you were traveling all
When we
those years.
first went out,
Yeah.
it was
So,
very different. It was really
yeah.
interesting. When we first left in 2017, and it was our one-way ticket to Paris, and Rick had planned
Mhm.
out the entire first 6 months, I think, of that trip. I mean, booked the stays. So planned it out to a T, like we're going to stay here. So now we have to drive this long to get to this next city. And then we have to drive this long to get to this next city. So he had the stays already booked.
So
And there's
cool.
pros and cons to that. So
Yeah.
after we did that trip, we kind of figured out, oh, you know what? That was a little too structured because
Yeah.
we would get somewhere and someone would say, oh, you need to see this place. Oh,
Yeah.
you need to see this place. So the next 6 months we actually did, and actually it's kind of been forever after that. We kind of we'll book our first 3 stays or our first
Yeah.
4 stays and then kind of fill out because we met our good friends in Croatia this last time we were in Europe. We met them in Croatia and they are from Sicily.
Wow.
And they were telling us about all of these amazing places through Italy. So we were actually supposed to go on that trip. We were supposed to see more of Spain and Portugal, go see Portugal. And instead, we rerouted and just drove the entire length of Italy, clear down to the boot, and rode the ferry over to Sicily. And then took there's like an overnight ferry. It's adorable. So it's a ferry and you sleep on it. It had like a movie theater on it. It was adorable.
Oh,
So we took the ferry from Sicily all the way up to Genoa and then went on our way. But we wouldn't have been doing that, right? If we hadn't met those people, we would have been going this way. And instead we went this way.
right.
So it was amazing.
Right. And you almost don't want to have it all booked solid so that you can go, we'll see where we want
Yeah.
to go while we're
Yeah.
there, how we feel.
But when we first left, we were super nervous. We'd never been out of the country. We didn't speak we don't speak language, and we
Yeah.
don't know. And you get outside of big cities, like in the rural areas of France and Italy, and they don't speak English, right? Like in the big
Yeah.
cities, most people do. Most people,
Yeah.
but you get out in rural areas and it's it's pretty entertaining. So
Where do you want to go next? Like, what's the next place that you're like, I really want to see? Because you've seen so much. But
Portugal. For me, it's Portugal. Yeah, lots more of Europe. We haven't seen all of
Yeah.
Europe, lots more of
Okay.
Europe. And Portugal, I really, really want to see. More of Spain, I really want to see. There's just so much.
There is so much.
We have our list. We haven't done Ireland yet. We haven't done Iceland yet.
I want to go to Iceland.
I haven't done Vancouver, for hell's sakes. It's like on my top 5 places I want to go. And we've like almost gone there 3
Yeah.
times and haven't gone there. We were supposed to go there on this road trip that we were supposed to be on right now. Like, can I ever get to Canada, for heaven's sakes?
I know. Why does it seem so hard?
It's
I
just
was
one of those
thinking-
things that's weird.
Yeah, it's funny. That's so fun. It's fun to hear about your life. Thank you for answering all those awesome questions. I think they're fun.
I think they're funny. Like, I'll just talk and talk and talk. You guys keep throwing them out here. I will
Oh my
answer
gosh.
them.
Me and you, we could sit here for 4
Oh,
hours.
we could sit here forever.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of scary, actually. It's good. But you have so much to do. You have a lot to do today. So,
Today's a good day. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
good,
good.
what did that one gal say? It was on the Tiffany Carter, her gal on her event that she did, that I went to her live event that was free. And she said, it's not a busy day. It's a, oh man, what did she say? It was such a good mindset. I don't know. It was positive.
fulfilling
Dang
day?
it. I'm going to have to go look it up because I wrote it. I wrote it back because I was like, I love that. I love that you just said that. And
instead
now
of
here I am.
saying you have a busy day, because
Yeah, instead of saying I have a busy day, because that sounds
Yeah.
negative, she was
Yeah.
saying I have an eventful day or something, or I
Yeah.
have an interesting day, or I have a fun day, or
fulfilled day. I want to know. Yeah, you have to fill us
to
in
look
on
it up.
that. Maybe
I'll have
next
to look it
time.
up.
I want you to tell a funny story next time. We'll let you think about it. Next time we have a Friday episode. Because you were telling, oh my gosh, when when you tell a story, you are all in.
I don't think I can tell a story sitting in a chair. I have to
with the
stand
microphone
up.
in your face. You
I'd
can't.
have to take off my headphones because I'd probably do something and it'd
Yes.
jerk me back, and that would be the
Yep.
funny story.
Yep.
I was telling a story. It's so funny. I was wrapping up an episode I just recorded, and I was telling the story about how we got fleas in Fort Bragg. I was 7 months pregnant with Hayes, so Castle was almost 3, not quite 3, and we were with Rick's grandma and grandpa and his parents, and we were in Fort Bragg, and they had house swapped. So these people had traded to stay at Jan's property in New Harmony, so Jan traded to
Yeah.
stay at theirs in Fort Bragg. So great.
Cool.
It's this cute house on the cliff, like super just dreamy location. And anyway, so I'm telling this story. Everybody, when they hear the episode, they'll hear it. But so as I'm telling this story, because the guest was from Fort Bragg, her
Yeah.
internet completely shuts off, like gone. And I'm like, and then this happened and that happened and then it happened next and then that was it. Like, it was not a normal, because I was so like, is she coming back? Do I wait? What do I do? And I'm like,
Where was I?
and we
What-
got fleas and came home and they died and it was fine. Like, you know what I mean?
I can't wait to listen to that
Oh,
one.
you should hear when Rick tells it, Kelly. We'll have to tell
Oh.
Oh my gosh. When
You
Rick
guys are
tells it,
so
it
funny.
is so funny.
Yep, I haven't heard that one
Because
yet. We'll
he
save
lived
that.
it. He experienced the whole thing while it was happening because they didn't tell me. I didn't
Oh,
know I had fleas. I'm sitting here thinking I'm getting mosquito bites. And I'm sitting there in the morning having my coffee and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a mosquito bite on my ankle. I haven't even seen any mosquitoes. And Rick and Jan, here they are behind my back, like, and Rick's like, don't you tell her. Don't you tell her.
no.
And like Kendall has him bouncing like a full
No.
on 3-ring circus bouncing on his chest every night when he's going to bed. And they're like
No.
sitting there watching this while they're going to bed. Jan and Kendall are watching this 3-ring flea circus happening on his white garment shirt.
No.
If they would have told me, I wouldn't have stayed.
When did they tell you? When you got home?
Yeah, when we were packing up to leave because we had to figure out how to kill all the fleas, right?
Oh my
We
God.
couldn't take them all home with us. So I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yep. You can't just stop like, so we had fleas. You
I
can't just
did. I
tell that.
stopped. It was like, and we got fleas. We got home and they died and it was fine.
Way to go. She's so funny, you guys. She's so
I'm
funny.
so funny. I'm such a good storyteller. Oh
But
my
she is.
gosh.
You wait.
The time we got ticks in Italy, that is a story. That's a funny story because we were in the Colosseum in Rome and it was our second time there, but it was our first time taking Jan and Kendall. So
Yeah.
we have a really darling friend that we rent her place in Tuscany and we stay with her. So we drove from there to Rome. Well, at her place, it's called an agroturismo. So like we would rent an Airbnb, right?
Yep.
Or a VRBO. In
Yeah.
different countries, they're called different things. Like in New Zealand, it's called Bookabok, or in Italy, it's agroturismo. So it's tourism, but you have a farm. So you can rent your property. It's a farm, working farm. So anyway, we rented it. So we were on this beautiful olive tree farm, right? And we went exploring. Well, I didn't go, luckily. Thank the Lord. But of course, Kendall and Jan and Rick and the boys go and they find wild pigs. And this wild pig had babies. And so they were out like kind of chasing these wild pigs, right? And they thought it was so fun and so great. Well, so the next day we're at the Coliseum and Hayes is 2.
Oh gosh.
1.5, 2, right? He's still in he's still in that little chubby phase and he's still in
Yeah.
his little car seat or his stroller. And I look down and he's got something on his neck. And I'm like, what is that? And luckily I'm one of those moms that's like,
Yeah.
I will pick at everything. So I noticed he had this little
Yeah.
black dot on his neck and I look at it and it's the teeniest, not like a tick like we think of like a deer tick,
Yeah.
like the tiniest little tick. And I'm like freaked out because it's on my 2-year-old, right? I'm freaking out. I'm like, he's going to have Lyme disease. He's going to die, blah, you know? So we call our travel insurance and she says, we actually have an American doctor in Rome. We will get him on the phone and have him call you. So as we're waiting for this phone call, we kind of go off. And if anybody's been to the Coliseum, so we kind of go off into one of the jail cells. I mean, it's where they used to keep the fighters. So we kind of go off into our own little enclosed area. And we had been kind of picking at each other, like looking at each other before we went over there. And all of a sudden, this guy walks up to Rick and he looks at him, slaps him on the back and he goes, "Got ticks, mate? Yeah, you'll be all right."
Oh no.
And I'm like, first of all, how long has he been sitting there staring at us, pick at ourselves, and scour our bodies to understand that we have ticks? And we're stripping ourselves down in the Coliseum. Like, if you've been to the Coliseum, it's like thousands of people. Thousands of people. It's not like you see on Instagram the perfect picture where it's like nobody there and it's just Coliseum. No, it's the reality picture and there's thousands of people and it's hot. So anyway, we're stripping everybody down, trying to figure out who's got them and who doesn't. And what was it? So luckily we find out that the ticks in Italy don't carry Lyme disease.
Okay.
Totally fine. They will just die and Bob's your uncle, no problem. Like, no big deal. But, oh my gosh, this Australian walking up to Rick, "Got ticks, eh? You'll be all right, mate.
He was watching you for a few
Gosh,
seconds, I
he's
think.
watched us for the last half hour.
Yes.
Look for
Panicking.
ticks on our
Pure
bodies.
panic. He's like, oh, these Americans.
Yeah, he's like, just a little tick. They probably do have gross diseases too.
And Rick here, he's 6'7". He's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I'm scared
And
of
they
a
were
tick.
tiny. It did end up.
Oh,
So what happened was while they were going through the tall grass looking for
yeah.
the pigs,
Yeah.
it was tick
Got on
season and
them.
they had all had babies. So there's tick babies on all of this tall grass.
Oh, I know.
So Rick and the baby and his dad
You
all
have so
had
many
ticks on them.
stories. You have so many stories to tell. I just love it. All the things you've done.
I'm definitely not taking gorgeous selfies underneath the Eiffel Tower. I'm just more likely getting ticks in the Coliseum. I mean,
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
there's a big difference between Instagram and reality for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
My highlight reel looks a little different,
Yeah. I like it though.
but I love it.
I love it too. You're awesome.
Thanks,
We got-
Kel. You're awesome.
Stick around. Oh yeah, I have lots of good
Oh, I
stories.
told you my episode today that came out, I talked all about finding your Kelly.
Oh, did you?
That's going to
Yay.
be, you know what? That should be a quote for next year's planner. Find your Kelly. I feel bad for all my other friends. Like I love you all too, just so you know. I love you all, but you don't find your doppelganger every day.
You don't. When you do, it's a good thing. And everybody has one out there. We
Yep,
found that out,
everyone
didn't
does.
we? Everybody's got one, and it is awesome. I'm so lucky.
Yep, me too.
But you gotta sound like I have an accent there. You have to not be scared to meet people in order to find that person in your life. Because if I was scared to meet you that day, I probably would have never came to the farm and met you.
Oh my gosh, that was on that training yesterday too. And I loved it. I'm like, yes, I talk about this all the time. They had this, his name was Tyler. Oh, I didn't catch his last name. He was adorable. This big black guy he's obviously this motivational speaker, but he was
Right.
amazing. And he was talking about life is not a spectator sport. Like, do I say that every day? I think I
All the
say that
time.
every day. Life is about doing and
Yep.
just start and just get in there and just make the change you want,
Yep.
right? Like do
Yep.
it. It's not just people that, and he said, my biggest fear is that people will get to the end of their life and will have just been spectators their whole life and never have done anything. And I'm like, that's so sweet of you to care that anybody is that's a fear that this man has, that even complete strangers are not living
Yeah.
their lives fully.
Yeah.
And I feel the
think
same
most
way.
people who are dying, they say they wish they would have spent more time with their family.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
And that's what
absolutely.
everybody wants more of that, but they don't try. Everything in your head is just a little bit of an excuse. And to recognize
Yeah.
it's an excuse, and that you do deserve, everybody deserves better, and to find the people, but you're not going to do it by sitting there and watching, you bet. No.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
go.
I gotta
Yeah.
go.
We could talk
I
forever.
gotta go.
I'm going to take a little 5-minute siesta.
Oh, so good. Rick
Just
and I
that.
actually took a nap on Sunday after we talked to you Saturday
you
night,
had
and
a
it
good
felt
weekend.
so good. He looked over at me and he's like, "Do you got the baby? I can't keep my eyes open." I'm like, "No, Cass will take the baby. I can't keep my eyes open."
Oh, you needed that. You guys need that too.
It was
So,
awesome.
have an awesome event. We
All
wanna
right,
hear all
girl.
about
Love
it.
you. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.